The quickest way to get loyalty, is it by fear or is it with love? And that is the essential argument of the entire episode. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're doing another masking and bemoaning, and we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones final season, second episode of the final season, and this is 8, even though I actually think that is set up to be like, you know, actually season 7.2, because the way it's set up, and it's only 6 episodes. Normally there's like 10. So you might as well just say, if we do it like that, it's basically like 12 episodes. So that's a normal season. Yeah, there will be no mask today. The mask I have on is actually, I have on my serum prescribed by my dermatologist, because as I told you guys before, I had some kind of skin issues going on. I had some sort of dermatitis, and while it's clearing up, it's not completely gone. So I still have to use that, and that's what I'm doing today. And that's why I look real shiny and greasy. Alright, but we'll get into it. I don't hope this, I'm gonna try to keep this under 15 minutes.
You lie!
But this episode 2 was a carrier episode, so it's between the first episode, which introduced us to where everyone is, and most of the characters are in Winterfell, that we're going to Winterfell, or plotting against Winterfell in young Cersei's case. And it's between this and the great battle. Like next episode 3 is straight the battle for Winterfell or for life or whatever they calling it. They're not releasing names of the seasons, of the episodes, which I find to be goofy. That's not necessary. I don't understand how but they're weird about their spoilers at this point. And it's just like, but some stuff is spoilers, they're not really spoilers, but you know, like I have said before, I think that D&D, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are goofy in that way. Is, you know, once it's out, even though you hear something that might be a spoiler or things that I don't actually necessarily feel that we should even give that much energy to. Like we knew that Jamie, who, you know, finally arrives in this, kind of having like a mini trial, but not really. During the episode, we knew Jamie's not gonna die, at least not right here, because we see him in the preview at the battle, and this is not a battle episode. We're doing battle prep. So just to get into that, you know, spoilers in this, you know, the night is dark and full of spoilers. Yeah, so it opens with Jamie, who we saw last episode, having a stare down with Bran, and he's having a trial, and you know, and Daenerys is leading this trial, but this kind of focuses on like how, you know, Daenerys is always, you know, going home, how she's the rightful queen, this, that, and the third.
Any man who must say, I am the king, is no true king.
But she clearly is not the one that's in charge, and I don't think that she has not recognized that she is not the one in charge when it comes to, you know, the Northerners, or you're at the South, the North Stronghold, you're at Winterfell. Like, the person that's basically in charge at this point is Sansa. You could basically say, you could also say Jon Snow, but Jon Snow's kind of hanging back, for the bulk of this episode, because, you know, he just got that revelation from Sam about his identity. So I don't know if he's personally going through something, and also even if he didn't have it, he gave up his position. And I think another thing that people get confused with, the warden is a military position. It does not mean that you are the Lord Paramount. The Lord Paramount is the person that is in charge of the entire region. So you can also you can be both, like Ned was the warden of the North, but he was also the Lord Paramount. Same thing with Lord Tywin for the Lannisters. But they have had that, like, this isn't brought up because it's not a plot point in the show, that like Jamie is actually the warden of the Vale after Jon Arryn is killed. But little sweet Robin, he is the Lord of the Vale, but he's a child. So, excuse me. So they have somebody have that in. So it's not the same thing, and so I wonder if that kind of gets brought up because basically, Sansa goes to bat for Jaime because Brienne goes to bat for Jaime, and she trusts Brienne with her life. They didn't get too into the reason Jaime was, the reason why he killed the Mad King, and that's why I don't think, Daenerys does not have the knowledge really, because she was also getting it from another child. Viserys, her brother that she was with would have been like 7. So, talking about how I'm like, Jaime also was in the position, he could have took the throne if it was like that, but he didn't. So, there's that. And that's never brought out. And then you're saying this in a room full of Northerners, and the Targaryens do not have a good reputation with them because of things that happened with Rickon and Brandon, Ned's brother Brandon. So, he basically, particularly with Rickard, Ned's father, is that you killed him without just cause. You called him to answer for his son. There was no trial. You basically, Mad King basically burned him to death. You put the word out that there for Ned's head and Robert's head, even though they didn't have anything to do with what was going on with Rhaegar and Lyanna. That whole situation is a mess. In the book, it's even messier in the show, because even though it does get brought back up in the end when Jon does tell Daenerys that the information he was told by Sam, I was like, now you do have to look at it from her side too. Of course, all she has been about is the throne. But it's like your best friend, whose father and brother that she killed kind of without just cause. We can get into whether to me it wasn't worth it to really kill them, because again, the Tarleys are not the Wardens of the Reach. They are not the Lord Paramount. They are the Reaches without both of these positions. So what was the point of really killing them? And he did not actually raise up an army to go against her. That he was just going along with Cersei, because Cersei still, even though Daenerys keeps claiming it, Cersei still is the queen of the 7 kingdoms. Point blank period. It's like there has not actually been any political games for Daenerys. Like, yeah, she's hooked up with Jon Snow, and she brings it up that, well, I'm there because I love him. That's kind of brought up. We get that conversation about manipulation and who's manipulating who when she's talking to Sansa. We'll come back to that. But that is really you dealing with something that would have been your issue anyway, because the Army of the Dead is everyone's issue. Even though I have also been a person that has not held it against Cersei for not helping them, because honestly, from her point of view, y'all said you were not coming to give her any kind of loyalty. You wouldn't call off the fight against her, but you still, and if we win and come out, I would still come against you and kill you. Why would she help y'all? That was stupid. That whole little situation, there was no point in that dragon pen scene, and besides the fact that they wanted to get everybody together for this scene, it's like, and y'all show her a zombie. Well, she see a zombie every day, y'all. Why would Cersei care? Cersei's not in this episode, so we're gonna get off of that. So, Daenerys feels a kind of way because Sansa does not condemn Jaime, because he does bring up that we were all at war when all this happened. I'm here to fight for the living. Brienne vouched for him. Bran did not say anything about getting pushed out. Jaime later does ask Bran why he doesn't say anything, and he was like, he's not really Brandon Stark anymore. He's not really angry at anybody anymore. And we need all the people we can get, and you're here for a reason. He's like, and if we survive, they're saying if we survive, then maybe we can feel some kind of way about it. So that's what we leave with that. And one of the, just to kind of wrap it up between them, one of the most touching scenes, because this episode really was about feelings, and it just seemed like everybody was saying goodbye. But just to blast on through a lot of stuff and get to Jamie and Brienne, you know, if he's not worthy of her, but if they make it, which I don't see that happening, one of them is gonna die. I just feel it. I kept saying that the whole episode, like, because everyone was saying goodbye, like this is the final goodbye for everything. We know a bunch of people are going to die. I kind of hope it's a bunch of people we really don't care about. Like, y'all, like, yeah, she's snarky or whatever, but am I really gonna be mad if little Lyanna Mormont dies? I mean, that's crappy for her house, but you know, Jorah told you to go down in the crypt, little girl. But I'm not gonna be that toe up about it. Like, it's snarky people all throughout this, and kids is dying left and right. You know, so why do I care about that? So a lot of people going to die, and I'll get to my theory about somebody else is gonna die and why they're gonna do it, because they're gonna try to be kind of sneaky and do a little switcheroo. But anywho, there is a point where they're all sitting around the fire. You know, Jamie and Tyrion are there, and they're having their wine and reminiscing about you know, they wish their father could see them now, because you know Tywin is not here for any of his children, really. He is a terrible man and a bad father to all of them, differently but the same. But even in a kind of twisted way, he loves them too, so it's complicated. So, you know, he wouldn't approve of them, you know, about to die up here at Winterfell. They're all facing imminent death. So there's a whole scene where eventually Brienne and Pod come in, and Beric, no, not Beric Dondarrion, that's Davos. They kind of look the same to me. But, and Tormund, and they get to talking about being the knights, and you know, Brienne was kind of trying to play it off like, because someone called Tyrion when they were recounting stories about how all of these people that are in this room are basically have either been against the Starks, they're unlikely to, or they were unlikely to be fighters. Like, Sir Davos is not a fighter, although he has survived very big battles. He survived Blackwater, he survived the Battle of the Bastards. He's not a fighter. He's a smuggler, and he's, you know, got a good ear. He's a good man to have on your team. So just people that were not doing that. It gets to the point that, you know, oh, you know, it's not Sir Brienne because she's a lady. She is Lady Brienne of Tar, which that's not brought up too. She's the heir for Tar. She's her father's only surviving child, so that's never brought up either. So yeah, I was like, yeah, but I don't see her not going down trying to defend them, because she had promised in a knightly way, you know, she had promised Kat that she was going to find her girls and protect them, and she has been upholding that oath. And you know, and because that's what she wants to do, you know, Sansa's kept up that part of the bargain for her. So they had this really touching scene where it's also explained that, you know, knights, not the king, you know, need holy orders and all that stuff. So Jamie knights her, and she's got like tears in her eyes.
In the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave. In the name of the father, I charge you to be just. In the name of the mother, I charge you to defend the innocent. Arise, Brienne of Tarth, a knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
And it was beautiful and somber at the same time. Pod sings this song when they're sitting around. Everyone's just kind of sitting around reminiscing, getting drunk and all this kind of stuff and sad, because everybody thinks they're going to their death. So he sings a song about Jenny of Old Stones, and it was really somber and pretty, and you see things about just them prepping for the battle. Okay, but moving on to the other plot points. I don't care anything about, you know, Gendry and Arya going together. I was kind of like, because I know Maisie Williams is grown, but you know, but like she's still a teenager technically in this. But I don't know how old Gendry is supposed to be in this. He's older than her, but I guess that was, you know, she wanted to have sex before she died, and you know, if this was a horror movie, y'all was both gonna die because you know, if you have sex in a horror movie, y'all dying. But so. That was fine, and she was like, she just wanted to know. So at least I'm glad they gave her that agency more so than they give a lot of the other female characters. That she picked who she wanted to sleep with, have her first time with, and somebody that she had some sort of feeling to, and you know, at least she trusts Gendry. So. That okay, and then the other final really main point is that exchange between Sansa and Daenerys, and that's where we get into the loyalty out of love or fear. So that is what's kind of going on, and you know, and I think a lot of this they had to turn to tell. They were showing, it was really showing Daenerys that. You know, these people don't care for you, and you really haven't given them a reason to. And Northern independence is always in their mind. And you came in kind of guns a-blazing. People were kind of saying that, you know, Sansa was being disrespectful. I was like, but I would argue that Daenerys was being disrespectful. And we have to remember, with the kind of people that Sansa has been around, she has seen someone like Daenerys before. I'm not talking about, you know, with the Unsullied, the Dothraki, and the dragons. I'm talking about this whole that we can kind of sweet talk and be, oh yeah, we're gonna be girls and we're gonna braid each other's hair and be in love and all that, this, that, and the third. But you know, everybody that has come in Sansa's face has been talking this way, are the same people that turned around and hurt her, take something from her, kill her family, sort of thing. So you know, she ain't going down without a fight, and I could kind of say that for the rest of the North. And that is kind of what I don't think I would still. They're not a Dragonstone, but Team Daenerys does not understand. She kind of came at her that same way that Cersei came at Sansa when she first met her, and actually several different points throughout their whole scenes together. Those first 4 or 5 seasons. So. She was talking, and you know, Sansa was just like, you know, I should thank you for bringing Jon back, and because we never forget that, and this might be some Littlefinger influence too, about, you know, having, and her mother telling her about having courtly manners too. Like, we can be pleasant because, you know, like, whatever you think of Catelyn is a consummate lady, but Catelyn is a politician. And Daenerys also had in her mind that for whatever reason that being a queen is not like being a politician, and she only actually goes to see Sansa after she talks to Jorah, because, you know, Jorah is just like, you know, Jorah is a northerner. He knows what's up, and you know, if we was really gonna keep it real trill, Jorah shouldn't even be alive, because he has, Ned was gonna take his head for slaving, so he was always wanted. Like, he does not, if he was not with Daenerys, he does not have no say. He probably wouldn't have no head right now. And if they were not going through a crisis, and that's like, if he lives through the crisis, would he be permitted to live? Because he did commit that offense, and it wasn't personal the way he kind of tried to make it sound when he talked about Ned. It wasn't personal, and he brought shame into his family. That's the same reason his father went to the Night's Watch, that he was so ashamed of what Jorah did, slaving. So that's the only reason she goes to speak to Sansa, but it turns real quick, because she basically says, you know, that's, you know, she does not begrudge Jon being in love, but men do stupid things when they're in love. And that's when she goes in and talks about, Daenerys goes in talking about how she came up here because she loves Jon and this, that, and third. It was like, well, and then Sansa says, well, who was manipulating who? Because when she says that, you know, you see a little change in Sansa's demeanor. It's just like, oh, so that's where people get this idea for a political Jon. That year, and off, so we can't really tell what wheels are turning exactly in Sansa's head regarding Jon, because I have always said I don't think if it came down to the both of them, I don't think that Jon's gonna pick you, sis. It's like, I'm talking about Daenerys. I don't think Jon's going to pick you if you threaten his family, his core family, for real. And Daenerys has never had a relationship like that with her siblings, because we do see throughout the episode in different times the Stark siblings are particularly really protective of one another, as they should be, you know, and all the things that they have had happen through this whole series. Like, Game of Thrones is about House Stark, regardless of how you feel about anybody else. They are the heart of the story. It's about House Stark. That they are very protective of each other. And, you know, and it's all good in the hood until, you know, Sansa was like, you know, that's nice, but, you know, she still kept the party line. What's gonna happen to the North? She was like, you know, if we survive this White Walker stuff, and when you take down Cersei, when you do this and that, what's gonna happen to the North? And then, you know, they was like, I become the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. She was like, that's all good, sis, but the North that we fought for, we had fought to be back here. Like, it was like in a real way. We didn't come through with direwolves and a bunch of random Negroes that you found that you just bought. You couldn't afford them as slaves, so you just kind of took them and they didn't have nowhere else to go. So now you with them to come overrun the city like that. And you know, we took ours by force. A bunch of families got together to get, you know, the Boltons out of here. They were brought here they were put in place by the Lannisters. We got everybody that was in our way up out of here. We going old school Stark. Like, we not doing this new stuff that like Ned had, because Ned was still acting like a second son. Which, I mean, that's what he was. He was put in his position without him knowing, which Jon kind of has that same thing too. Jon still kind of, like, he says he's the leader, but he still acts like he is a second son, a bastard, which he's all those things. So it's kind of hard to change that, and when that's been your nature, that we can't do all this by being nice. This is not, we not living in a nice world, and that was them having that kind of mindset has been to the detriment to all the Stark children, which, I mean, they know you don't have to be this terrible person a la, you know, Tywin, but, you know, at least two of them, Sansa and Arya, have had interactions with Tywin, so they can pick up on that and keep that in there. Like, there does have to be some sort of ruthlessness. I ain't saying, you know, like burning up all the food and burning up people that ain't got nothing to do with this and not going to advance your cause like Dany, but there has to be like that. This is who we are. This is what we stand for. This is our home. I'm not giving it up. And Sansa in particular has, for all the bad things that have happened to House Stark to get back in their position where they are, Sansa has taken the brunt of that punishment. People like to forget that. I'm talking about even beyond Ramsay and that rape and that whole thing, and her having to run to her life basically to get Jon. You know, she had to get Jon together to get in step to about taking back Winterfell. She was the one, anytime that Robb won a battle, Sansa was getting beat for it. Sansa is the only one that actually saw Ned die. She was like, you know, and they kind of took it away, and that kind of bothered me last season. Like, you know, like, Arya, you got selective memory, but you didn't actually see, you know, the chop. Sansa did, and they took this part out, but like, she was like screaming daddy when his head is doing it, and you know, she has to see his head on a spike. She was being constantly taunted. She almost got pushed through the moon door, because it turns out that your auntie who helped set all this up is crazy and mad at your mama who's dead. Like, and you know, you got to live with a Littlefinger, and all this had to do with how he used to supposedly love your mama, and now you look like her, so he thinks he knows her, so you're gonna be another version of her for him and help him get power. Like, Sansa been through with y'all, and so the brunt of the things to get back the North and get back Winterfell have fallen on Sansa, and people like to forget that because she does not wield a sword. and she does not seem to have any kind of magical powers. And actually, in the show, none of them actually have magical powers besides Bran, even though in the book, all the Starks do, all Stark children do to a certain degree. And you know, there's just like, and you know, she helped rebuild, you know, Winterfell and make it wheelchair accessible so Bran can get wherever he needs to go. She's the one that done pulled in all this food, and people like, well, she was complaining about food the last episode, and I see them eating, and this is like, yeah, they got food now. We talking about it in like 2 weeks from now, you know, that we not gonna have food, which it may not matter because maybe a bunch of people gonna die, and all them dead people, you can feed them to the dragons if they'll have them. If the dragons are still allowed to be eaten. So yeah, it's like you always got a plan ahead. We gonna, you know, Littlefinger told her, and this is still like, oh, he was slimy and I did not love him, but he was like, you had to prepare for everything, for every battle, everywhere, that you had to be ready. You had to look, you are fighting from all sides. And people like, well, that's mean and he shouldn't do that. I'm like, but did Peter lie? Did Peter lie? Alright, so well, that's basically what happens. I am over 15 minutes, under 30 though, so I'm trying to get that. It's just, but this was there were a lot of emotions and reunions, so I do like seeing that. And people are like, well, this is trying to get rid of the plot. I'm like, y'all, this is the plot. The plot is not that bad. I think the next episode is straight up Battle of Winterfell, so I do want to see, you know, those human interactions and plot in between. I know we're gonna go into the crypts and see how that works, and you know, and some of them are going to be, Bran is going to be outside once again by the Heart Tree to lure the Night King. And Theon, who came back, and that was touching too. And that was one of the things that, you know, Daenerys looked aghast to see him, you know, run up to Sansa. But, you know, him and Sansa have been through some things. And that goes back to that love breeds loyalty rather than out of fear. Because, you know, even with the Dothraki, I don't think y'all love Daenerys the way that it seems like the North is loving Sansa, or like that the North had loved the Starks, particularly with Ned. So that's why the children have so much goodwill, because of what how Ned was as a ruler. That love breeds loyalty worth having. You know, it's just like, you know, it gets brought up time and time again that people were like, you know, when Tywin got killed by Tyrion, that there's a line in the book, is never said in the show, but you can see it, that ain't nobody going to war over the memory of Tywin Lannister, but we still talking about Ned. So at the end of the day, regardless of what happens, we know that Ned Stark basically won the Game of Thrones. Now, sometimes you win in a game does not mean that you didn't get taken out. But you can see the way that it goes because of the way his children act. Even though, you know, he made a lot of tumbles. It's like, but between him and Kat, because she does not get enough credit, but the way that these children behave and the way that they interact with their small folks or people that are just below them in rank in the social norms or whatever, that they treat a lot of people that with respect. That's just like, you know, Kat treated Brienne as one of the first people that really treated Brienne with respect. That's why Brienne is so loyal. And Kat wasn't really trying to get nothing out of Brienne. Brienne kind of volunteered for all that. She was just like, you know, girl, you need to get out of Dodge because they're going to kill you. You don't need to die off of this. And, you know, and even when she meets her, she was just like how she didn't make fun of Brienne either. Like, Brienne wants to be a knight. Kat was just like, you know what, yes, we can do it, and she pledged her loyalty. But you know, she helped get Brienne out of Dodge when Renly had got killed. So that doesn't get, and that's how we get introduced to Brienne. And that gets pushed out the way too. But we can see just the way that these two people, their character and their character to their people and the people that love them, you can see that extends onto their kids. Even though their kids be crazy sometimes. They be bugging. And that's all the way around. You can see that throughout the story. So, you know, want to know who wins the Game of Thrones? If anybody wins, Ned Stark. He won. I think all the Lannisters gonna die. In my opinion. There might be a book book opinion, I don't think none of Thomas' kids gonna live. I'm not saying House Lannister gonna die because it's mad Lannisters, but if people make it and Night King ain't up here killing everybody, I think a lot of people gonna die. Yeah, I've gone on too long. Oh, finally, they keep showing Alice Karstark. Alice Karstark has the same coloring as Sansa. I think they're gonna play with y'all, and y'all think that Sansa gonna die in the battle for Winterfell, but it's actually gonna be Alice. That's all I'm saying, and they're gonna have you waiting for a week, and all y'all Sansa haters gonna be glad for like a week, and then pow, Sansa is somewhere else. Maybe she get kidnapped by Cersei, because Cersei ain't gone. And she still got the gun coming, and they was real quiet. I think they're gonna be real quiet for these 2 episodes, and then they're gonna be out here. Alright, bye y'all. Y'all have a good one, and comment and subscribe, do all that good stuff. Bye.